Okay, here I am. I'm live. Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Orot HaTshuvah, says Robert Harrison. Bloodnose is here. A Sneezer is here, or was. I'm not sure who is and who isn't right now. Still sort of connecting and whatnot. Have I popped up on YouTube? Yes, I have. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to mute that. Good, we'll go with this. Perfect. Okay, so the link, I believe, is in the description. If it isn't, then I'll put it there now. No, the link is there. Cool. The link to the live stream, so they can join if they want. Hello, so people that are here. Okay, let's start with Orot HaTshuvah, because last time we did it only towards the end. Let's start it now. A relatively short paragraph. Okay. Through, you can, come on, there are clocks. It's 9:03. Yes, you do. Through tshuva, right? Returning, atonement, returning to oneself, personifying that image of God. Through tshuva, everything returns to Godness. Through the reality of the power of tshuva, which prevails in all worlds, right? It pervades everywhere. Everything returns and is connected in the reality of divine perfection. Okay, that's the first half of the paragraph. And everything returns, it's not that it returns to God, that would be Eloha, but he says Elohut, divinity, godness. When we make tshuva and we make that image of God that much more pronounced in a real and honest and true and just way, then there is a return of not just you and your behavior, your speech, your walk, and the way that you act in the world, but things around you. You have, in doing so, have elevated things along with you. And everything returns to Godness. And he says, through the reality of the power of tshuva, everything returns. Tshuva means to return, lashuv. And he mentions here this idea that tshuva is connected with the reality of divine perfection. And I've mentioned my idea of tshuva, that it's a destination and an origin and a journey. And the idea that oneness, that unity of everything is connected, people feel it in different times. And some people more than others perhaps are able to integrate that feeling, because in everyday life it's really, really hard to feel that oneness. At least it can be very, very hard, potentially very hard, to feel that unity and that oneness, how everything is returning, despite the fact that what's being reflected sometimes in the world is just awful. One needs to have faith in oneself and in their tshuva, in their returning, right? If you're a Hebrew man or a woman, to the Torah, to the commandments, to the covenant between God and Israel. And through one person's being and doing, when it's in ways of tshuva, of returning to who they are meant to be, to who they are supposed to be, that force that pervades and permeates in all the worlds, you make a home for it within and without yourself. When you're walking that path of tshuva, it really gives you so much strength, and you will still fall and still fail, but tshuva, it gives you this, right? Like what Rav Kook says throughout this entire book, where on the one hand it's a great contentment and solace and comfort, and on the other hand there are constantly more obligations to fulfill, ways to become better. Through the brightest light you see even the tiniest blemish. Let's continue. And he says, through the ideas of tshuva, its concepts and feelings, all thoughts, ideas, and opinions, desires, and feelings turn around, right? They sort of go, they turn over and return to establish their nature in a sacred divinity. Sacred divinity, that's not a proper translation. I didn't like what Google Translate did with it, but I couldn't do anything better. I had only a few seconds to do this. My apologies. I would love to sit and actually write my own translation of Orot HaTshuvah, not to publish or anything, but just so I have it. Laila Chitov. Okay. Sweet dreams. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Okay, is there anyone here, by the way, who is injured? No cams right now. Let's just keep plowing right ahead here with Orot HaTshuvah.
Cameras?
Cameras. Nobody is waiting to join Nobody's waiting to join, or I would add them.
Is there
Okay, wait.
anybody that's
Laila
joined?
No. Well, not with a camera. Okay. So, love you, baby. Okay. Through the ideas of tshuva, right? Its thoughts, its feelings, in the way that you embody them or hold them as an ideal, or that idea of you returning. Now, it has to do with something that's to do with the collective. If you're a Hebrew man, you do tshuva the Hebrew way, which is what I outlined earlier, right? With the Torah and carrying it out. Everything returns, he says. It's not just you, it's everything. Now, I have my solipsistic side, and this really truly does speak to me on that level. That when I do something good, things become better. When I do something bad, things become worse. And when I'm making tshuva, and certainly one where, well, in the different types of tshuva, Rav Kook lists them closer to the beginning of the book. Well, I won't get into it now. I might read another live stream. But some of them come, and I've mentioned this, like a light switch, and some of them are much more gradual. And sometimes there is no particular sin or bad deed, a transgression, a crime, or wrongdoing that you're lamenting. It's just a general feeling of, just feeling low. And he speaks of that as well. The thing is, when everything is returning, it means that you also should be constantly in a state of returning. And when there are hindrances, like he said, spiritual ones and physical ones, you need to keep going anyway. Somehow, eventually, and I don't know how, I don't know the mysteries of this thing. I know that I have complete faith that despite all my wrongdoings, the things that I am doing right, they are compounding and adding up as well. And maybe through the grace of Yah, my life will be able to come to a point that is so like a critical mass of merits somehow, maybe not even me, but my ancestors, right? Through their merits, something will be tilting the scales. And this is an ongoing process with larger things, with bigger things. How do I play my part in tilting the scales? That's what tshuva is. How do I tilt the world, myself? Right? There's that, I don't remember who said it, which is right. The human being is a big world. The human the human being is a big world, and the world is a small human being. There's that mirroring, and which is all the more pronounced when you are on a path of tshuva, and you feel that unity, you feel that oneness in times when it's truly part of you, and you're able to integrate it into different times in your parts of your life. That everything returns, things become elevated, and they affect you, and it's something that feeds like you and the world in you, and you begin to see the world differently. When you're trying to do better, there are maybe things on the outside don't seem like they're opening up to you, but it is you who is opening up to the outside and to the experience of being in tshuva. And as such, it changes how you perceive reality, how you view the world. And that helps to change you and move you forward if you care to take the time, pay attention, acknowledge, and continue to see how do I integrate this into my life more in a way of justice, because we pray, many people pray, even though I'm not worthy, either way, let your divine revelation of kindness and of giving, of nurturing, let it go past that line of judgment. Because what I'm holding on to truly is something magnificent, even if it's not mine quite yet and maybe never will be. And it causes thoughts, ideas, opinions, desires, feelings to not reverse, to turn over or turn around in a way where something is tilted and everything returns along with you, the individual, to establish their nature. Right? Tochen hakodesh ha'elohi. Tochen can be loosely and accurately, but loosely translated as content. But it's more than that. Tochen has to do with a middle, with a balance. For instance, the Middle East is called Mizrach Tichon. Mizrach is east, Tichon is a kind of middle. And that middle, right, that line that runs straight down from crown to kingdom, from kingdom to crown, to reestablish their nature in that Tochen HaKodesh HaElohi, that wonderful balance of divine holiness. This means is, because I'm not talking about God, remember, I'm never talking about God, only of revelations of God, because I don't know God. Tochen HaKodesh HaElohi is that which makes you straight, that which makes you keep your head in the clouds and your feet firmly on the ground. The crown and the kingdom. Okay, that was, oh, which one was it? I'm sorry. Hang on a second. That was chapter 4, section 2, or paragraph 2. All right, let's go to the StreamYard, to the chat. Hello, good people. Hello, hello. It's good to be here. It's nice to be here. Those of you who partook of the poll on what did you think of last live stream, of the first open panel, let me know. And those of you who haven't done the poll, well, you don't have to. What I'm saying is those who haven't done the poll, by all means do it if you're interested. Let me know if it was okay, if it was bad, if it was meh, or what thou? Something like that. Microphone sounds much better today, you say. Oh, okay, well, that's good. Mic is much cleaner. Good, good, good. I'm glad. It's a different computer. After months, I took my laptop, which I've had since 2019, I believe, and I replaced the old hard drive, which had died. I still have it. I might go to a clean room and pay 7,000 shekels or something and get a file out of there. There's one file that I want there. Perhaps I've mentioned this in the past. I interviewed my parents. They're still alive, but I interviewed them and I want to interview them again, part 2. I haven't yet, and I should. But I saved the one with my, the interview I conducted with my mother, and I did not save the one that I conducted with my father, and that was on the hard drive that died, which is a shame, but that's why I'm holding on to it, that one file. If I had just saved it or put it on a drive or a cloud or emailed it to myself, this whole thing would have been much easier. Okay. Vladno says, hello. Splash Fuzz, hello. L'chaim to the Israeli operation today, Jonathan. Today? What happened today? I thought people were still talking about the beepers. I might be wrong. Past 2 days, I say. Well, I don't know if it's Israel, but and like I said, I have no idea what it would mean long term or short term. No idea. But that is one serious. If it's Israel, I mean, in some sense it would be. But if it is, and if it isn't, whoever is behind this, that's really pretty. It's an advanced thing to pull off. I think if it was easy, everybody would have done it. Especially when beepers were a thing. I wonder if people did attempt. Obviously, they probably did attempt, but so many at one time. Yeah, that was exploding pages. What could be more terrorizing? Hey, Sneezer, how do you feel about terrorizing terrorists? How do you feel about that? I'm just asking. Great, Jonathan, to peace and self-fulfillment, says Splash Fuzz. Not self, but God fulfillment. To fulfill your cause, said Sneezer. Indeed, that's included, says Splash Fuzz. I hope to live through this day, this cycle. Fulfillment, you mean, Sneezer? I can't even imagine, he says, let's put that up there. I can't even imagine what life will be or what purpose I might have after world peace. I agree. It's the times, let's say, of Mashiach, and some say the times of Olam Haba. And I've mentioned this in past live streams as well. It's a dispute, right? It's a difference of opinion on what it is that it will be. Will it be a completely new? Now, will it be a completely new reality? Will it be, as the Rambam at some point I think says, that the days of Messiah will be simply with Israeli, Hebrew, Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel, and the nations leaving us, to our own devices, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe he doesn't even mention Shi'abud Malchuyot. I'm assuming that includes the land. I don't know if he specifically mentions the land, but the fact that we won't be under the yoke, let's say, or the oppression of the nations, and not in bondage, not enslaved by the nations. Perhaps only to remember the times of war, said Sneezer, speaking then of how it was when nobody thought it possible to take away war, to take away bloodshed. There's a synagogue I used to frequent, it must have been not 15, 20, 17 years, something like that. 17 years ago or something like that. I used to frequent a shul where when they would open the Ark of the Torah, what's called Aron HaKodesh, of the scrolls, that is, then they would recite a short prayer on eradicating evil and lifting bloodshed and having it pass away from the world. No more wars, no more, and that there will be revealed a great and wonderful unifying peace. I love the fact that in that shul, a modern Orthodox shul, a lot of egalitarianism, still with a mechitza, a partition between men and women, but women were, anyway, a lot more egalitarian than at least what I knew growing up, which is nice. I always like a nice egalitarian touch in an Orthodox shul. I think it could be, I think it's good altogether. And they would recite that prayer, and it's a prayer from Likutei Tfilot of Rabbi Nachman, Likutei Tfilot, written by Rabbi Natan, his star pupil. This theme of evil being eradicated, real peace coming to the world, this time not between enemies even, it's simply from a great understanding of the unity that we share, and that we all have meaning and purpose. And the random element, let's say, of creation, which also gives rise to bad things happening to good people for all intents and purposes, and you can extrapolate from that what you will about the nature of good and evil in the world. That will be something that will also be lifted, meaning it won't be as opposed to when good and evil were at odds or in opposition or trying to gain territory here in this world. It will be a very enlightened existence. That's the way I perceive it anyway. Because if we are all able to get together, first as perhaps only Israel and then a unified human race, if we're able to do that, there's no stopping us. And this time it will be the most positive, unlike with the Tower of Babel, where God's revelation comes down. It says one of 10 times that God came down, or is it said to come down to Babylon to see the tower. Well, it wasn't called Babylon yet. It was in the land of Shinar, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be mistaken. At any rate, they are one people with one language, and this is the beginning of what they're doing. And this time when we are, let's say, unified as one people, and speaking a common tongue, not necessarily the same language, but a common tongue of civility and of peace, and again, this time earning it, truly atoning, repenting, seeing those lights of tshuva, not turning a blind eye from the negative things, but doing everything we can to bring about more positivity into the world. These things ripple out in unimaginable ways, and there's no telling, truly, the effect that a single individual and a random act of kindness can have on the world. The oneness is wonderful, said Sneezer. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hosea 10:12. Can you read? Okay, yes, let's. Hosea 10:12. JPS Tanakh. Sow to yourselves according to righteousness, reap according to mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord, till he come and cause righteousness to reign upon you. Hang on a second, I gotta look up fallow. I don't remember what it is offhand. Fallow, oh, untilled. So reading it in that context again. Break up your, okay, so basically make room for fruition to come into existence. Rain upon you, like, that's lovely. That's really lovely. Okay, JB is here, or was here. Ella is here. Hello. I think, she says, there are only two actions, selfish or selfless. At the root of all action and thought, these two things are the choice. My opinion, anyway. I think there's a lot of wisdom to that. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, and to call this a rule, your opinion. I am strongly inclined to agree with what you're saying there, Ella. Well said, well put. I always loved it. I always love your contributions, Ella. So Nizar says, ultimately, he says to her, one choice, to delay or not, world peace, thusly to say to do or not honestly. That doesn't mean nobody can be angry or hateful. That's a part of life and the process, he continues, of misunderstanding, the process of misunderstanding. But understanding can only come through honesty. Honesty. Emet. Kenut. Yes, yes, yes. When you are able to be truthful and honest in the times that you're able to do it, and certainly if you're able to do it for extended periods of time, that unity and that oneness, many times, is something that becomes something that you see more and more. Because you are doing what you can to shed the dishonest parts of you, let's say, still keeping your privacy, but being honest. Right? It's again that idea that you do something and the world reflects certain things to you, and your vision changes due to that and because of your actions. To do so honestly. Understanding comes through honesty. Because when you are able to be more in that unity and that oneness, there's more common ground to build off of. That's the way I see it. And through honesty, you can bridge gaps. Because there's no, well, at least in a lot of cases. Netanyahu, says Tznezer, apparently put a claim of responsibility on Twitter removed, as did one of his aides. I have no proof, he says. A claim of responsibility? I don't know what that means in the Twitter X world. Could you elaborate, or someone dumb it down for me? Or, I'm ignorant of such things. The thing about selfishness, says Ella, is most don't even know they are selfish. Self-awareness becomes very important. Yes, I agree. You need to be honest with yourself. And to know that you don't know. Love to see a part 2 of your Abba Ima. Well, at the time, I simply recorded them off of my telephone. It was a telephone interview. I was in the Netherlands, and I felt like doing that. How do I feel about the Tingtists war begin? What are Tingtists capitalized? Tingtists. What are those? Or is it simply your keyboard acting up again? The Tingtists are an English indie pop duo formed in Salford, Greater Manchester, 2007. Okay, am I not getting something? You cannot. Oh, how I I don't understand because it's with a question mark, so I don't understand. But okay, I'll just continue. He says, "You cannot fight for peace, only understand for it." I believe that there are times that war can bring about peace. It's not ideal, but it can bring about peace. HN asks Robert, "How do you feel about Israel giving a free pass to leave safely for all the hostages?" I don't understand. Israel giving a free pass to leave safely? Israel has hostages and they need to give them a free pass? What am I misunderstanding here? Someone explain it to me. How do I feel about Israel giving a free pass to leave safely for all the hostages? I'm sorry, I don't understand. I haven't listened or heard news today, really. So, uh, read it. I don't know what's going on. Is something going on? Revelation 22 says, Ella, Eden restored, says people will see God's face, and his name will be on their foreheads, so they will know God, I think. Okay, well, let's put it this way. The face is still part of the body. And the face, it's something which is very expressive and indicative. What I'm saying is it's still not the inner mind, even if you call it a face. It can reveal things about the inner mind, but it is not the inner mind. And so if we come to a time when people shall see me and live, right? Yir'ani ha'adam v'chai, instead of no person shall see me and live. To see him and live. Again, insofar as I understand the teachings of the Ramak, and I mentioned this, the Ramak, well, no, let's not go there. Right, where creator and creation are inherently different and nothing will ever bridge that gap, but we will be coming and edging ever closer to reaching it as creations. And things will be constantly in a state of elevation, yet not truly being, knowing the, if you will, mind of God. Face of God would be an elevation, and then perhaps even later the mind of God. But then there's not just the mind, there's the, right? We spoke of face being the body, mind is hidden, but mind is closely associated with the brain and with what goes on there in the frontal or prefrontal, whatever it is here, in this place right here. And, or everywhere in the brain, whatever. And then there's the aura, what's known as the mikifim, right? Or that place that is outside of you. But if we're talking about, let's say, a physical face, and this is the analogy used, people will see the face of God. Now, I'm using this idea for something in the New Testament, and I'm taking it not, again, as a religious person, because I'm not a follower of Jesus, but I do take it as something where there might be some wisdom there. Eden restored. Restored meaning what? That the fruit of the tree of life has been already partaken of? Or that we are back there and it's after death? What, I don't know the book of Revelation, so explain to me what Eden restores mean in that context. But insofar as it means seeing God's face, it means that there will be something that in this world was not permissible, as we know it from the Torah. And his name will be on their foreheads. I think that has to do with, again, the face and the way that the divine image, us, mirrors the divine, the creator. To have the name on the forehead, again, that place that is on the, let's say that is the revealed part of the mind and what's hidden. And like I just said, a lot of things go on right here. A lot of the wondering, imagination, and processing thoughts, and I don't know what. I think a lot of it goes on over here, where it's not just left, right, something bridging them, each having something over here that evolved later, if I'm not mistaken, for us humans. Knowing God. So I'm still of the opinion that we will continuously know God, but never always higher revelations, but never knowing God. Right? The face will be right. The back will be revealed, like it says in the Torah. The face will be revealed, perhaps, like it says here in Revelation. That idea of the face, the name right, on our forehead, mirroring something that is going on, his face, our face, or higher area. Well, the forehead's part of the face. And Eden restored, I'm still waiting on that. Maybe I'll skip ahead now if you've answered, I don't know. And it still will be something separating God, right, creator from creation. So Nietzsche says evil doesn't get eradicated. Evil is only misunderstanding, and it will be pointless to understand everything since birth. Okay, but insofar as it means death and that which came into the world after we bit and chewed and swallowed of the tree of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then finger pointed and blame shifted. I'm not talking about understanding everything since birth. I'm talking about the fact that if we are now in a world of good and evil, evil will be eradicated. And we will be in a world of good, but not good as opposed to evil, but a higher good that we cannot fathom at this time, or at least not. We don't live it out in the same way. No, I'm not phrasing it properly, but I think you know what I mean. When you know, belief becomes irrelevant. No, I think belief is always relevant, and knowledge is obviously a very good thing. And I think holding them both at the same time, or one or the other, or both at the same time, I think they each have their time and place. I don't think it becomes irrelevant, personally. Robert says, I know, HN, you say you don't know God. Is that something you want to change? Do you feel you can know God? Would I want to change it? Would I want to know God? Is that the question? Because I'm saying, no, it's not possible, but do I want to? You say you don't know God. Is that something you want to change? Or do you feel you can know God? Am I misunderstanding the question? I'm not. You know what? It's 9:34. I did have a long day, but it wasn't very long and it was a very chill day, actually. Not long in that sense. But I don't know. Am I just not getting stuff? What am I drinking? I used the tea bag from last night. What am I drinking? I think it's a chamomile. I don't know. Splash Fuzz says, oh, okay, so let's see. I don't know God. Yes, I would want that to change. I would want that to change. I would want to know God more and more. But I still consider it to be revelations of the Most High. In this world, in this body, with who I am acting in a part deterministic existence. And in that sense, I know that there are certain things that are beyond me. But then there's that other side that knows or believes in the limitless nature of the divine spark that dwells within me, if you will, and outside of me. And connecting to that, again, I liken it to Neo after Smith puts a bullet in him and then he stands up and he sees the Matrix in code. He's seeing it for real. He's still in that system, but now he's seeing it for real. He's not outside of the Matrix at that point. He's just seeing all the code. He's seeing it for what it is. And he can manipulate it and change it as he sees fit to some degree. I'm borrowing from the Matrix. Something like that. It will still be in code, but I'll be able to interact with it a lot more, if you will. Rise from the dead as Neo did. And there will always be something keeping me from being God, because that's the creator, and I am only co-creator. I think that's my lame ass answer to that. In my opinion, says Splash Fuzz, it's going to be that feeling you get when immersed in a great experience. Be the inspiration, a movie, video game, or an experience that moves you to that sense of evolution. That is a kif. That's a lovely way of putting it. A great experience. And once again, it's important to take the time to say, this is a great experience. What a great experience is that this is. How amazing is this? Amazing, right? Coming from maze, like I'm lost in this experience. I want to acknowledge that. I want to give it the time and the attention. It doesn't have to be with words. Although when it is, it's definitely helpful, depending on the context and the conditions. But being aware, making it something significant, even if it's like trivial every day, because making that normal and mainstream, extraordinary, special, unique, you seeing it through your eyes in that moment, all of these things, the details can help to truly elevate the way you see the movie and or the video game or an experience that moves you. The details is where you can, because it can be like a wave that washes over you, but then it's to take the time to acknowledge it and to notice it and to not let it pass you by so easily. Don't let good things pass you by so easily. War and murder, said Sneezer, and the likeness of today is only the worst of evil, allowing for nearly infinite good in the future. What do you mean by nearly infinite? I'm curious. Infinite good in the future, you say. War and murder and the likeness of today is only the worst of evil, allowing for nearly infinite good in the future, right? That force of good and that which brings into balance, that will counter it, that will be something that will eventually, through some divine means, I know not, because of our doing, because of our merits, again, the scales will tilt, and that new reality will be revealed, that higher consciousness, humanity phase 2. Phase 2. For me, said Splash Buzz, that's what the age will be like, however sooner or later. For me, I think of movies like Star Trek, at least the sense of that progress. Right, like leaps and bounds and light years and warp speeds and many, many, many. Yes, truly ahead, truly, truly. And the kind of world that can produce this federation of planets, that's the kind of world where Earth is united and humanity, humans, Ferengi say it like that, right? Humanity in the world of Star Trek was able to come together, unify, work together, leave bloodshed and war and wickedness behind, and to reach for the stars, even more so. Sneezer says to Robert, the point of eternity is to describe God, right? And he's known as Ein Sof, that's one of the names of God. Only known fully at the end. Only known fully at the end, because there's no end, right? So it's with quotes there. But everything true we know is of God, and thus we always know God. Again, yeah, I see it as a revelation, but if you're right, you're speaking to Robert. I hear you. I do. It takes a lifetime to fully embody unconditional love, he says, that takes time to fully embody. Oh, he says unconditional love of Jesus. Right, because it's Sneezer and Robert. It's nice that you two are strengthening each other in your faith. Let's continue. Oh, Sinoir giving him a free pass? I don't understand what's going on here. Netanyahu giving Sinoir a free pass to release the hostages? I don't know what kind of free pass. And yes, release the hostages. War doesn't bring peace. That's like being a something to bring about virginity. I'm assuming it says whore. No, I disagree. I disagree because if there's an evil in the world that needs to be eradicated, war can bring that about in the physical sense. Because here we are in a world of good and evil. So the way it's manifested here sometimes is through war, and this is truly the expression of the war on Amalek. Israel is commanded to fight Amalek. Amalek, we don't know exactly who they are now genealogically, if that's the way to write it, the actual nation. I don't think they are known. The name Amalek is attributed to great enemies of Israel. And the Torah says that the people of Amalek need to be destroyed. The men, the women, the children, the livestock, everything associated with them. Everything. Because Amalek is the expression, right, in the Torah of that absolute evil, if you will, that root of evil that needs to be taken out. There are different klipot, right, husks or shells, right, that which come before the fruit that needs to be cast away, or that needs to be buried, or that needs to be made into tea or essential oil. But it's not the fruit. It's what helps the fruit, keeps the fruit safe, but it's not the fruit. The klipa of Amalek, the klipa of Esav, the klipa of Mitzrayim, the klipa of Yishmael. Now, this is not to say that Esau and Ishmael and Egypt and Amalek, all of them were evil all the time, throughout everything. No, it's the way that these evil forces, if you will, the Sidra Achra, the other side. It's the way that it's the names that they are given. But obviously, I still would like to see the good, right, in things that Mitzrayim did for Israel and Egypt, and things that Esau and Ishmael did, and they did. Amalek is a different story. Amalek is something else. It's that root, if you will. And so, if you're talking about war against, war on that root of evil, and by eradicating it, by uprooting it and turning it into I don't know what, that it gets no more life force, you are aiding it in fulfilling its task. It is supposed to rise, and you are supposed to rise against it and conquer it and overpower it and take it out of the world. In the very same way that God will lift all evil and to death and things that came because of the eating of the fruit of tree of knowledge of good and evil. Everything that brought that about, that will be taken away. And we will be able, now again, through our actions, through our merits, because we wanna. And to get to that place, I long for that day. Individually and as, as a people, I want it to happen for me, that I will return to where I need to be and who I need to be, and I want it to happen for all of humanity, right? On that path to the tree of life. So I disagree. I'll say usually war maybe doesn't bring peace, but I think it can. I think it can. And real peace, even if it's that there's like an embittered side which lost the war, perhaps in time, if they are able to come to terms with their loss and go with their wins and move forward, maybe it's something that they will be able to do. And then the war will be over, because there will be no more need for it insofar as those two sides are concerned. I don't know. There are so many factors and elements that go into why people go to war for different reasons, nations, and I wouldn't know. Not really. I can think of a few, but I don't know. I know what happens here, but that's it. War can bring peace, in my opinion. That's just me. So Nizar, you're quite poetic, says KJB. Many people in this chat, I must say, have a way with words, and it's nice to read. I understood a very simplistic thought of God, a 5-step plan for world peace taking millennia, says Sneezer. MC Nemesis on Amazon Music says, what about the Sumerian tablets? I have not read them yet. I have not read the Shomroni Torah yet, unfortunately. I've read parts of it to look into where it differs from, in certain areas, from the Orthodox, let's say, Torah that I know. But I haven't looked at it yet. Or maybe I looked at the tablets, but not at the actual Torah. I don't recall. Because you're not saying scrolls, you're saying tablets. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Not Samaritan, you said Sumerian. My mistake. My mistake. What about them? I don't know enough about them. I don't know enough about them. Sorry. You tell me, people in the chat, and MC, what about the Sumerian tablets? I'm sorry, am I thinking of Gilgamesh in relation to Sumeria? Is that correct? The Epic of Gilgamesh? I don't recall. There are many stories. If we're talking about tablets and stories, there are many stories, very, very ancient stories, and some of them appear in the Torah, and some of them appear elsewhere as well. And it makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me, personally. Sanizar says to KJ, the divine spirit is poetic, not I. I hear the words and think beautiful, I must write that down. Yeah, but you still process it, and you still are the one who makes it be. You give it space here in the world. You send that bread upon the water. Eden restored is the new Yerushalayim in the lamb and the lion will lay together, the lion will eat straw. So right, a vegan living and something new. Right, okay, so this has to do with the way that I perceive partaking of the fruit of tree of life. That time when we'll all come together. Either just before we partake of it or because we partake of it, I don't know. But that's what I see. Yes, 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 yes. I understand what you mean. So in that context, let's go back to that previous comment. Eden restored, where is it? Where is it? Here. Eden restored says people will see God's face. So yeah, things will be elevated. We'll go back to an Edenic veganism, right? But it still, for me, won't be knowing the Creator. But I understand what you mean, Ella, when you say that, if that is the case, because we will be able to point and know that divine revelation in such a profound way, at least according to prophets and according to the way that I perceive the Torah. Yes, yes, yes. My phrasing too, said Sneezer, is something God unlocked in me about 7 years ago. Unlocked my thought or throat chakra. Throat or throcht. Is that a word, or was it a typo? But only on the keyboard. LOL. I see. Good exists beyond that, and turns evil into good. Yes, it's a goodness that exists beyond it. Correct. Very true. Let's skip ahead here. Is something? Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Okay, let's go back. Because if there was someone new, I would say hello. Gotta love the Matrix references. Yeah, I loved the first movie. The second and the third one, I enjoyed them less. I get what they were doing there. I just liked it less. The action sequences are still great. The story and the plot, I liked it less. But the action it's just my opinion, right? But that first movie, man, it's just really good. Okay. Jonathan doesn't even remember what he's drinking. Yes, I took a tea bag. I reused tea bags, so twice, maybe sometimes 3 times, but no, usually twice. And I did have this waiting for me, and I figured I'd use it. And I think it's chamomile. I wasn't sure what it was, but it's chamomile. What does God tell you, Robert? Asks MC Nemesis. Each revelation allows us to know more of God. I suppose you could phrase it that way, but for me, as I say that it's only revelation still and not God, what I am knowing is what's being expressed and revealed to me. I am knowing it more and more, deeper and deeper, but never reaching the very source. Unfathomable, unthinkable, untouchable. Leit machashavat fi sabach klal, said the prophet Elijah in the Tikkunei Zohar. There is no thought that perceives you at all. There is no thought. Use awareness, follow truth, I think is best. Ella, bringing it. What a heuristic. What a maxim. Use awareness, follow truth. That is lovely. And what a succinct way to put it. Now you need to, the awareness will also provide you, Yah willing, with the tools to discern more and more as you go along. Because if you say, no, I truly do want to know who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing here, and what my life is about. If you're going with that, and not judging yourself, cracking the whip, not being very harsh and tyrannical with yourself, but I want to know. I want it to be revealed to me. And I will conduct myself in a truthful way in order for that to be to raise my awareness, right? That mind revealing, soul revealing creation. And then the integration, again, when it comes right here, we integrate it, and that gets it's a constant crown to kingdom, kingdom to crown movement. I agree with you on Matrix reference, the idea of it, Jonathan. Yes, yes, yes. Miracles happen every day. That's right. Splash Fuzz, Matrix, again, what a movie. Wow. Lions love straw, says MC Nemesis. Sneezer says the Matrix is God's mind, and notice how evil the one who thinks himself the architect is. I am the architect. And notice how evil the one who thinks himself the architect. Well, what do you mean? If the architect created the Matrix, it means that evil created God's mind. You say the Matrix is God's mind. Notice how evil the one who thinks himself the architect is. In other words, evil resides in he or she who thinks that they are the architects of life or of, I don't understand. Are you talking about a divine adversary? When you say, notice how evil the one who thinks himself the architect is, what do you mean? When you say the Matrix is God's mind and somebody built the Matrix, what are you saying about the one who built God's mind and the evilness thereof or therein? Evil creates. I'm glad I opened your throat, Sneezer, said MC Nemesis. MC Nemesis, if you are actually on Amazon Music, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, who knows? It could be just a username, but do share what type of music, or is it just a username? Are you a musician? Do you create music? What do you do? What do you do? Inflammable infidels. What kind of merits? Like genocide in Palestine? Hi, I'm sorry, inflammer? Okay. Inflamed infant, like flambe, infidels flambe. Yes, if there was a genocide in Palestine, obviously that wouldn't be a merit. But there is no genocide in Palestine, and yet I say that Israel is doing plenty of things that are wrong and many things that are right. And so I'm going with those merits, not the places where Israel is wrong, personally. But definitely those things exist. KJB says sometimes it's not a choice of good and evil, but choosing the lesser of two evils. Yes, that's right. There's always an exception to the rule. It's true. It really is true. You do? Wait. Yes, do. What is God, Ella? Asks MC Nemesis. Wait. Ella said, okay. Ella said the number one is an everyday thing. It's also the Aleph, and everything comes out of the Aleph. Everything comes out of the Aleph. Alufo shel olam. Yes, yes. I agree. Morality is objective. Wait, hold on a second. No way, says MC. Morality is subjective. God is good, evil is the absence of a good presence, ignorance. Well, on that you agree with Sneezer, who says that misunderstanding is the root of all evil, and hate. What's an aleph? Aleph is the Hebrew. Here, wait, I'll put it up. Hang on a second. That is an aleph. The aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It is also a representation of the divine revelation in the world and the 10 sfirot, the tree of life, and it's that which we are all returning to, let's say, the aleph. Okay. I'm sorry, where was I? Comments, here we are. Oh wait, should I get rid of the aleph? I'll get rid of the aleph. Boop. Oh wait, here, I'll put this. Here you go. Okay. So Kamala's power come from God, you see? Oh yeah, we're talking about politics here. It's true, it says all authority is put there by God. Submit. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going back. Okay, here we go. The Sumerian tablets predate the Bible. The story of the flood is there 2,800 years before the Bible. The Bible is based off the Sumerian tablet, and real Christians must believe in them. So, like I said, there are many, many stories, and they share different time periods, which is why I say, personally, I have no problem with the Torah that I have, right? The way I've perceived it and the way that I received it here, I have no problem with it being a collection of stories. I have zero problem with that. It's a tradition that's based on the ideas behind those stories, if you will, and I hold on to that. It doesn't all need to be literal. It doesn't all need to be. It can be complete fantasy as far as I'm concerned. But what does it mean? And when you implement the ideas and the deeds that are written out there, and again, I focus on the good in my own way. What is it that comes? What is it that comes into existence? Right? The Torah says, like, choose life. Life will become better as a result of it. You'll be able to thrive and flourish, be a blessing to yourself and to others. He continues and says, it's all true. It's true. It says all authority is put there by God. So you're talking about the Sumerian tablets there. Kamala's power comes from God, you see. Allah says, Sumerian, all cultures around the world look at nature and saw divinity. Fire, water, earth, air, the sun, the moon, the stars, the rivers, the oceans, the animals, they named these energies as divinities. Right, that's how I know history as well, right, for that to be the case. Taylor asks Sneezer, maybe I'm jumping in the middle of a conversation here, but why did Jesus criticize the Pharisees for doing hand washing? I found out from reading the Torah that hand washing has two contexts, not just one. Well, there's the priestly washing, right? And the other one, do I know it offhand? Well, in the purification process, you would wash yourself in a mikveh. But that's not exactly hand washing, is it? It's the body. Let's see, it's also the hands. Hand washing. I wonder. But okay, let's continue. Baruch says Israel still worship the Sumerian god Sin. Well, there's the desert Sin, which is Sin, the Midbar Sin, and it's mentioned in the Torah. But I don't believe that we worship the Sumerian god Sin. Now, if you're saying that the Sumerian god later became what we know as the one Hebrew god, but it is actually the same god in a different time with a different people, that I'm willing to go with. And I also know that the ancient Hebrews, let's say, appropriated or brought into the fold different stories and names of deities and things that existed at the time and that they received from other places. The root of it, right, as far as I can tell, for the Hebrew people, is that, right, the Torah and that idea of tshuva and the image of God and the 10 sfirot and the tree of life, right, with the 10 sfirot as it's brought down through the generations. Okay, let's see. Sin. if you were talking about the same sin, about the desert, it could be that the Hebrews at some point did, but Israel does not worship the Sumerian god as far as I know. Unless, once again, it evolved for the people and then the Hebrews came and they took on that same god. All the ancient gods came from observing nature and the stars. MC Nemesis says, yes, and the Nazis in Germany were given power by God. Now I don't worship this weirdo, murderous creature, but according to the Bible, he's good but also evil. I'm not sure. Am I coming in the middle of something, or are you asking me? I'm not sure. But let's pretend you asked me right here. Nazis in Germany were given power. People have free will. People have free will. They have a choice. So people chose to do that. Speaking of Amalek, many people name the Nazi Germany, or the Nazi Germans and their helpers around their Europe, Amalek, as in a real absolute evil that needs to be taken out, that needed to be taken out. And again, I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. And in this world, he is revealed in the left hand and the right hand, in good and in evil. And there's a time and place for evil. And there are times when bad things happen to good people. It's part of that random or chaotic element of creation, of this world, rather, not creation. This particular creation, as such, this world, in this dimension, in this body. And so I would say that there was a choice to be good, a choice to be evil. According to the Bible, he's potentially good. According to the Bible, people, human beings, this world is potentially good, but we are the ones who need to bring it about. We are the ones who need to actually do it in life to channel that goodness. And again, in a way that's not just good for us, in a way that you're a blessing to yourself and to others. Something like Amalek, there's a great good that ought to rise up against it, to counter it, and to bring balance back to the world, if you will. Whether it's simply by making it weaker, like Yehoshua did when he fought with Amalek, right, as a general and the Israelite army, the Hebrew army in the desert, right, with Moses and his two hands, Aaron and Hur. Aaron and Hur, yes. And that type of thing, I have no idea. I have no idea. I have such a narrow mind, and I view reality through such a thin, small lens, and it's that sort of evil is something that I haven't encountered face to face. Maybe screen to face sometimes, but not face to face. And I will just say that according to the Bible, as a human being, you have the potential to really align yourself with the divine revelation, the highest of revelations, and embody it and behave and be it in the world, become that real reflective image of God, reflecting. There's a great light that is shining here. And to reflect that into the world and to channel divinity into the world through your human actions and thoughts and prayers and wantings and what you do, how you act. Hey, I'm just over an hour and just about 4 minutes here, and I want to take the time to say thank you. Thank you for being here, those watching now, those watching later. I appreciate it. I really do. Every like, every sub, every view, every comment, every... Hasn't been a troll here yet today, has there? Oh, well, not a troll. That was just somebody who said that wasn't really trolling. He asked a legitimate question, so that's not a troll. Deleting my first comment, said Baroque. I'm not sure if you're talking about something that happened before or then, or this was written in 951. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Because why not? Let's skip ahead. Whoa, 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 there's a ton. Okay. Do you blame Yeshua for what the Crusaders do? Or do you just blame the Crusaders for disobeying Yeshua? Well, assuming that question is referred to me, I'll just say that uh, it's if we take Jesus and Yeshua as a kind of true expression of goodness and that divine spark, people call him in Christianity the perfect human, right? They say he was perfect. Oh, wait, hold on, let's put that over there. Here. Do I blame Yeshua? I don't blame Yeshua for anything. I don't know the guy. But I blame Christianity for what the Crusaders do. And I don't blame the Crusaders for disobeying Yeshua because I don't know what he obeyed. I don't know what it means to obey and what he told them to do. I read the New Testament only once in my life, so I wouldn't presume to know. But I'll say that I blame Christianity for what the Crusaders did and do, or for that. And I don't blame the Crusaders for disobeying Yeshua. I might blame the Crusaders for disobeying their own conscience if it ever did make itself present, and they did it anyway because of their belief that this is divine will. So again, Christianity, not Jesus. As far as, like I said so many times, I probably would have followed him around in Yerushalayim at the time, or in other locations around Israel. I'm going to blame him for something? As for Crusaders, I blame Christianity, not Jesus or the Crusaders, because what do I know? But Christianity. That's what motivated them to do it, as far as I know. That idea of liberating the Holy Land and of converting people and of spreading the good news with the sword. That's not outside the realm of Torah. When Joshua and the army came to conquer the land of Israel, that's what they did. Divine will, slaughter everybody. That happened. So a nice, okay, let's see. The Bible was based off the Sumerian tablets. Like I said, a lot of different stories were around, many of them more ancient than when the Bible was compiled. I'm definitely willing to accept that and acknowledge that and go with that. Only I go with it as a Hebrew man. And, well, that's it. You want a troll? Show us your knee. No, I don't necessarily want a troll, but I said it out of habit, and I don't think there was one. And still, so cool. Does Kamala Harris view us through the lens of love? I have no idea. I don't know what Kamala Harris does or how she views reality. According to you, your God put her in power. That was dumb. No, I think it's people put her in power. Again, people have free will and they can make a choice, and they do make many choices every single second of every single day. Does it nudge us more towards good? Does it nudge us more towards evil? And even if it's something like, let's say, eating lunch, where it's just a choice of what do I want for lunch? Yes, but that lunch, the food and drink, will then sustain me and nourish me and power me for the remainder of the day. What will I be doing with that day? Will I be elevating the food and drink by being a good person? Or will I say, you know, I probably, for all of the good it did, I probably shouldn't have eaten that lunch because now look. I have no idea what Kamala Harris does or how she views anyone or anything. How about a shout out to some terrorist? All right, give me a name. Maybe I'll shout it out. You claim to know the Bible. I have never made that claim ever in my life, that I know the Bible. I read the Bible. What does it mean to know the Bible? The channel is spirituality, religion, faith, and self-development through the eyes of a modern-day Hebrew Nazarite Am Haaretz. Nowhere in that does it say that I know the Bible. I know of the Bible, I enjoy the Bible, but what does it mean? You need to do some more research before talking about spiritual matters. You know next to squat. So according to you, because I don't know what the Bible is based off of, I know squat. Fair enough. And I do know squat. There's a lot more of what I don't know than what I do know. Now, I choose to see it as a question, an ongoing question. And now what? Okay, I'll take your criticism. Let's grant that proposition. I know nothing. What is it that I do? That's where it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. And what I have done, hopefully, as I see it, is orient myself and always try to bring myself back to a place where I am going in the ways of the Hebrew Nazarite, keeping Torah and commandments and the covenant very simply. And in that sense, I don't need to know anything else than what I already do. I have found a way. I have found a path. I'm doing my best to follow it. I'm not going to say my best. I'm doing a lot to follow it every single day. So for me to do more research before talking about spiritual matters? No. For me to do more research because it could be helpful, beneficial? Yes. It will help me to know more, and then I will know even more than that amount of squat. And I enjoy the criticism, and I think that it's misplaced, not because I disagree, as I said, but only because what you're saying is if you don't know the origin, you don't know anything. It's like, okay, how much do I need to know in order to be a good person? Do I need to know the Sumerian tablets to be a good person? I don't think so, personally. Okay, let's continue. MC Nemesis. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, Jacob the Jew is here. Wait, hold on. Where was I? Okay, I skipped. Okay, I'll go back. Let's see. The books that the Bible is based off of, said Sneezer, referring to the Torah, is so heavily encrypted it's nearly useless for non-Jews. They're only for historical evidence. And I think it encodes technologies unexplored. If you refer to the Sumerian tablets, firstly, I doubt their translation. Secondly, they are vastly incomplete and missing in many places. But I am quite familiar. And he continues and says, my knowledge doesn't come from books, only my confirmation. Showing us your elbows? All right, I'll go with that here, elbows. This dude ain't friendly. He wouldn't let me on panel. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that you were even, I didn't see that you were even waiting. Try again. I'm right here. I will let you in. And Jacob. Hello, how long have you been waiting?
Shalom, how are you? Not too long.
Hi. Oh, okay. MC, you want me to put you on? I'm sorry, I did not see you. My apologies. Please, by all means, come on the invite yourself. Click on the link, invite yourself, whatever, and I'll let you in. And MC Nemesis, while we are on that, I will say now what I say many times. Maybe it's your first time here, but I don't claim to have any great wisdom or knowledge or truth. I claim to want to go in the ways of knowledge, wisdom, and truth as the Torah sets them out. And I claim I want to go in that Hebrew path, following that Hebrew way. But nowhere have I ever, I think, in hundreds of videos, have said that I hold anything. You know, I tell people they shouldn't listen to me, they shouldn't follow me, they should always do their research. They should always, people who hang out here, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's what you said. So if we pick up on something you said, right, when from the comments where it's saying that the Bible's based on other books, well, could it have been that this event, this flood, happened worldwide? So that's why we have different accounts. So if we see in Mayan and Aztec history, there was a talk about a great flood. If we see it in Spain, in Africa, in other places, it doesn't mean that they've been copied. It just means that it solidifies there was a great flood, right?
Okay.
So there's the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? The Enemu Elish. What's the
That's
third
right.
one? There's one more. Which is it? Do you know the last book?
No, not offhand.
But there's one more, right? So
I know I know the first two.
so it's basically the whole of the Tanakh, but it's
Mhm.
a slight difference. There's slight differences which you would have, but again, we find the same name of our God in do you know the Moabite tablet?
The what?
The Moabite tablet.
I think, but not. If I did look it up, it was ages ago. So by all
Do you
means,
know who
give
the
me the.
Moabites are? Yeah,
What do you mean, Moavim of Moav?
yeah, the Moabites.
Yes, yes.
So they found a tablet, which is probably one of the oldest archaeological finds, and it talks about an inscription of a Yahweh and an Israel. So it
Hmm.
distinctly shows us as a nation, and it distinctly says God's name, right? And then if we go to the Sumerian pantheon, this guy called what's his name? Esoterica. He's a Jew. He's a lovely man. He's one of us.
Hmm.
And we were talking, and we find Yahweh's name in the Sumerian pantheon with Asherah and so on. Do you know Asherah
Yes, I
and
do.
Chemosh and all these other gods bow? Now why is it there? Because obviously a nation can take something that's true and use it to their what's the word for their use. So if we had God's name and they heard that we had God's name and they took it for themselves, that's why it would be there, right? So it's not that our book's based on others, it's that others are based on our history, right?
I mean, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, the origin does not matter to me. It really doesn't. I don't care if it's copied, and I don't care if the origin is this or that. It comes down to what am I doing in this life? Okay, so it's copied off all of the other cultures and religions and faiths and ways that appeared before the Hebrew covenant was struck, before the patriarchs ever existed. Okay, and it's like, so what?
Yeah, but I
It
don't
really
believe
doesn't
that,
matter
see?
to me.
Because that dismisses if you're saying it comes from somewhere else, we're not really who we claim to be. We're not Jews, we're not God's people, we're frauds. If that is the case, if you're saying it's based on someone else's event, someone else's identity, someone else's culture, do you see what I'm saying? So that's
I
why
see.
we can't see that, right? Because then
We, we,
you're diminishing God's, like God put us on a pedestal, right? And it's a gift. We should be, even though we've got to be humble, it's a gift that we should understand. So if we say, well, it's someone else's, we're diminishing what God gave to Moses, what God gave to Abraham.
I disagree. I think that it doesn't matter to me personally because I look again at the final analysis. What is it that I'm doing? That's why it doesn't matter. It can matter in a lot of ways. It doesn't dismiss it. It means that let's say that it did come from a more ancient path, a more ancient way. I'm willing to go with that. Our sages and our prophets and those who compiled the different books, they decided to take that. They left certain things out. This is clear, meaning that they had a thought process behind this. And this is what I was given, right? The 5 books of Moses and all the prophets and the writings, the different
Right.
scrolls and the Psalms, and they could have left a lot of other things out or put a lot of other things in. It's like they did this specifically. It's supposed to guide me in a certain way.
Right.
That's why the origin, even though it's important in the final analysis for me as I live my life, it doesn't matter. It can all be a myth, a fairy tale, completely lifted. How does it affect me? Just me.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, but that's a
Now,
bit like saying it doesn't matter where it comes from to you, but you're believing in something and you're living a life, a way of life, but you don't know where it comes from. You don't know if the person that told you to do it was inherently evil, because if it is, you're doing something evil. So we must know where it comes from in order to solidify if it's good or not. Because imagine you say, well, it doesn't matter where it comes from, and it's truly disgusting in our God's eyes what you're doing. So we have to be careful, man. We do have to be a bit educated and understand that it does matter in the sense of if we're doing something wrong, but we're taught that it's right because we just believe in it and we don't know where it's come from, and it could come from here. You see where it becomes a slippery slope?
oh, of course, it's a slippery slope. I agree, and it's a slippery slope. But I know that because of my background, right, growing up Orthodox in Jerusalem and
Right.
having a few years in yeshiva, it has right, and being in Israel, just as in and of itself, it has caused me to be able to say that. I understand that it's not something that's. I don't speak in absolutes. When I say that that's the way I think about it. In other words, what I'm saying is, it matters, but it doesn't matter so much to me that I
To you
will
personally.
fight for somebody else, right? To say to somebody else, no, you're wrong and I'm right. That's
Right.
what I'm saying. That's where it breaks down for me. Because A, I don't know that I'm right. I don't know anything. B, this is me and my personal journey. I have my roots in like Orthodox, like organized Judaism.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter to me if the origin is before, because the sages and those who compiled the books decided to leave me this. This is our way, our path, our tradition. And on a day-to-day level, for me, I've witnessed how reality reflects certain things back to you, and it feeds things back to you, and you can, right through tshuva and through very even rudimentary understanding of Torah and of doing good, choosing life, being a blessing. Very, very, very short and plain sort of ways of living, but they incorporate a lot of the basics of Torah. And I found that to be something where, for me, that I'm willing to go with that.
Right. It's what you believe, and it's okay. You're entitled to believe what you want. But I would say to you is, like, are you focusing on tshuva too much in the sense of, why would we need to keep repenting or turning away every single day and keep enforcing it when it's meant to be a one-time thing? In the sense of, remember when God says, "Turn to me and I'll turn back to you. If you leave me, come back," and so on and so forth. Now I understand that,
Mhm.
but if we keep doing things to have to do teshuva, inherently there's something wrong with us. We can't be godly people if we're sinning, because what was the law given to us for?
I understand what you're saying, and I'm saying you are right. Nevertheless, people miss the mark, people sin. Now, it can be for a variety of reasons, but I don't think that there is, at least in the life of the everyday man or woman, I think that there is always a chance to do better and be better. In that sense, that's also tshuva.
Right.
And
But if you can always be better, you're not being the best you can be, though, right?
it's something that you're moving towards always,
But why can't
I
you be
think.
perfect?
For me personally, because I don't believe that there is such a thing. I don't believe it in. I believe that it's relative. There's a relative perfection, if you will, in this life.
But
Because
Noah in Genesis was called
that's like
perfect, right?
that's like an absolute. Tam, yes, tam, whole, complete, not perfect.
Well, it's got,
I know that
well,
there are, I know that there are some translations that translate it as perfect or blameless.
that's
So it depends on the translation.
right. I would
Depends on the
agree with you.
translation.
That's what I was trying to get
But
to, because
But Tam basically for me, is a straight, honest path. As straight and honest as one can afford to be and be. Right? So tshuva is it's not necessarily to come back from some transgression and continue sinning, and maybe for some people it isn't. But it would still be that tshuva of a, a recurring tshuva that's always in motion.
right. Well, but that's the problem, because transgression is different to iniquity, right?
Correct.
Now, you must, if you're doing teshuva all the time, you're doing iniquity, which is even worse, right? Can you say iniquity in Hebrew? The word for iniquity in Hebrew for us.
I believe it's avon, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So iniquity is knowingly sinning, right? So if you're saying we're missing the mark and we're always being better, you must be holding iniquity.
Wait. This idea of doing it can you give your definition again as you just put it? It's
So
knowing it and sinning
the
willingly?
transgression is breaking the law, right? That's just breaking the law, right?
Yes, yes.
Now iniquity is willingly, knowingly breaking the law.
Yes,
Right.
yes, that's right. Avon,
So,
lishon le'avet. Right, to
but
bend things. Yes, yes.
what you're doing is, and I'm not saying you specifically, but in this narrative, you're saying, well, I'm missing
You
the mark.
can, because I'm talking about me specifically.
Right, right. So you're saying you're missing the mark, and you could always be better. Well, I'm saying, well, if you know you're doing that, you're willingly sinning, having iniquity, because you know you're not hitting the mark, right? When
Sure.
if you try your hardest,
Wait,
right,
wait, wait. I mean, what do you mean by will? That's a
you know you're going to
question.
sin. You know you're going to sin, right?
Do I know I'm going to sin? Not until I do. It's always a free will, free choice. It's a very wide potential, a wide array, right?
You know,
And then
can you
you
stop
zero in,
yourself?
and then you zero in on something.
See, because that's the problem, right? Because
I think that you need to live. I think that you need to live with the knowledge that that you could sin, and always be striving not to. And that again, over time, when you don't turn a blind eye to your sins, it takes the sting out of it, and it doesn't necessarily push you down and crush you. And second of all, when you are able to, and Rav Kook talks about this in Orot HaTshuvah, when you are able to more clearly define good and evil, you will be able to discern in a better way. And somebody who is perfect, blameless, without any sin whatsoever, I know that's not me. I think that such a person is possible. And even they, I think, are constantly doing tshuva because we can always be better and always get higher. And it doesn't mean that we have iniquity. It means that there's still more to explore, more of the divine revelation to bring into existence.
so you
And
believe
so
in original
I believe
sin,
in. I believe that. What do you mean original sin? I believe that we missed the mark in Eden.
right? So you believe we inherited Adam's sin, right?
In the sense of that he lived and died, and now we are in this world of good and evil, as opposed to Eden. Yes.
See, I don't
Yo is
believe,
here.
because doesn't it say in, I think it's in Habakkuk or somewhere along the lines, we can't inherit our father's sin, right?
Hang on a second. Wait, let's see. Can you, okay. Is it just, all right, hey, yo, is it only audio?
Yeah,
Let's see.
this
Hey
is
there.
Robert.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yo. Hi, Robert.
Are you and Jacob talking right now, or can I chime in?
Oh, wait, hang on a second. I think I'm gonna have to go soon. I am gonna have to go soon. But okay, let's do this for a few minutes. Go for it.
Okay. Just my question was about the Crusaders and the rivers of blood and all the wars started by Christianity. Um, my question would be, say a bunch of us in the chat, say like BMXers with dreadlocks, Sneezer, Jacob, all of us went out and started doing a bunch of violent stuff. And we say we're followers of the Hebrew Nazarite. And we know how you feel. You're a vegan guy. You don't believe in violence, doing good. But we started giving you a bad name. Would it be correct to put the blame on you, or would the blame lie on us or the
The
Nazarite
blame,
path?
I think the blame would be on me because it's through me that you arrived at these teachings and through me that you arrived at those conclusions. And so, yes, it's me, and I wasn't careful enough with my speech, and I wasn't careful enough with my speech.
Yeah, I was just looking at that because, I mean, the New Testament teaches thou shalt not kill and turn the other cheek if somebody smites you on one side. And when Peter cut off the Roman soldier's ear, Jesus rebuked him and then healed it. So, I mean, clearly a unviolent path Jesus was putting out there. And I think if there was a blame, it should rely on the people that totally took it upon themselves to start wars, going against the teachings of Christianity, going against the teachings of Yeshua. That's where I believe all the violence, the wars, blame just them disobedient, rebellious, rogue followers of Christianity. If you can call them followers of Christianity, I think they was followers of their own lust and greed. Do you agree, or?
Say more.
Okay.
Say more. I'm still. I mean, because you say we're like a bad apples, right? A bad bunch. I don't know, man.
Exactly.
But
Well, the one
can
time you read the Brit Hadashah, you told me the type of man Yeshua was. The words was just jumping right off the page to you, correct?
yeah, I could. I mean, and I don't. Did I actually phrase it like that? Probably.
Yeah.
Then
It was a
yes.
couple years ago you said that.
Then yeah.
What you read, and I know you only read it one time, and you didn't really go deep into it. Did you get
Mm.
a violent warmonger individual, or what type of man did you get?
The type of man where, like, it says that the book and the sword came down together. Safra v'Saifa. They both came down from the mountain at the assembly in Sinai. That's the type of vibe that I got.
From
Somebody
Jesus.
who's somebody who speaks softly, right, and carries a big stick and knows to use it.
Yeah.
But
I would just
something like
me,
that.
what Messianic Jews in Israel and also Christians over here in America, the Crusaders, the Holocaust, the rivers of blood, those are just individuals that was acting on their own greed. And they may have had the banner of Christians, hey, we're Christians, but actually in their heart, all they basically did was went to synagogue or church on Sunday and sat under there and didn't do none of the teachings, didn't apply it to their life each and every day. And they was just following their own path with the title of Christianity above them. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It makes sense that such a thing would be possible. Hey, there you are. Good. Let's see.
Well,
Okay, hang on.
with
Wait,
the Crusades,
MC is over here. All right. You're dressed, right? I must ask.
Who, me?
Okay, let's do this.
Uh,
Hey there. Hi
hello,
there.
everybody.
Hi. But wait. I cut you off. I cut you off. Continue. Hang on a sec. Robert,
Yeah.
you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I cut you off there.
Yeah. Yeshua to me was just a true Hebrew man, well, in my opinion, Messiah, whose message was of nothing but love, forgiveness, turning the other cheek, being humble, and down the line, generations with countries expanding and this and that, they had the title, the banner of Christianity, but it wasn't Christianity what they was acting out. It was almost like, I hate to bring it up if anybody's Muslim in here, they was almost acting out the teachings of Muhammad. Muhammad was the one that said, oppress, kill, steal. If they don't convert, keep on oppressing them until they eventually convert. That was not the teachings of Yeshua HaMashiach at all. So somehow they was acting on greed and their own lust for power. Because Jesus never said, pull a sword out, and if nobody converts to me, kill them. He
he
said
actually did tell the disciples to buy swords.
one thing. He said, in Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, go to their house. If nobody will hear you or accept you, bend down, wipe the dust off your shoes, and move on.
But
That's all he said.
he did tell them to buy swords because the cops were coming for him.
Okay.
You know, the cops, like the ones who arrested him, the Roman police.
Right.
Okay. So Jesus was sent to the earth to expose evil, to show you who's evil. Who is the evil in the world? The cops. The military tortured him. The military is evil. All militaries. The religious leaders, the Pharisees, are also all evil. Every preacher is nothing more than a social engineer. Like
that's crazy.
Well, MC.
Judaism. Now
So
look,
I got. Did you hear what he
and
just
then the
said? He said,
politician Caesar, the president of the corporation at the time, sentenced him to death, and he was tortured. Cops, all cops are evil. Every military is evil. My grandpa slit his throat from ear to ear. There's been so many cases, 76% more likely to do that if you're a veteran. Why is
Well,
that? What is so
MC.
awful about? Did you kill someone in the military? Are you feeling guilty because of the children that you murdered? I'm pretty sure you do. So here's the thing: if you want Jesus in your heart, you're going to have to be willing to stop worshiping the government.
Could I interject
Well-
something, please, Yochanan?
It's Jonathan, but carry on.
Jonathan, right? So Jonathan, right, the guy who's the guy in the green shirt?
MC.
MC
MC.
Nemesis. Wait, are
So-
you a musician? Maybe I skipped. Are you a
you
musician?
just insulted.
I make music. Yes.
So
Cool.
you just
Carry on.
insulted Jesus, right? Because you said the Pharisees are evil. Now Jesus was a Pharisee, silly. Jesus comes from the line of David, silly. So you're calling King David
David's
a
not
Pharisee.
real.
Pharisee
Solomon's
means
temple
Orthodox
never
Jew.
existed. David's an allegory. Okay.
What do you mean
Solomon's
David was a
temple's
king?
not real. David's not real. The whole Judaism
What?
thing is built on an illusion.
Well, Jonathan.
Where'd you get your facts from? King David lived.
Actual research, like not from Bible scholars that went to Christian university. I'm talking about Jordan Maxwell. I'm talking about Mark Passio, the real
People that
head
are like Anglican that
Michael
look like you.
Caesarion. No, people who uncover the truth about this
No,
world. And the
buddy,
truth
listen.
is,
I would take a
you
Middle
don't
Eastern
know
man's
the truth
perspective.
because you haven't been taught the truth. You have to have knowledge, occulted knowledge.
Hey,
buried.
Jacob.
This is what
Jake-
the white man does. The white man tries to colonize and push his truth and shut us down. This is what the Catholics did to us.
What
He's
about
a Catholic.
colonizing?
What? The white man? Where's this coming through, man?
Jonathan,
Cognitive dissonance.
Jonathan,
It
can I
happens
say
every
something?
time. Whenever I wield the sword of truth like this, cognitive dissonance is whenever I talk about something and he talks about something completely unrelated because his brain is malfunctioning right now.
Hey, MC.
He's realizing that the cops are Satan and that the state employees state.
What
It's
does
in
the Bible
name
say?
Satanist. What?
The Bible says what? The Bible tells us to obey the law of the lands wherever we are. It
Of
tells
course
us that,
it
right?
does.
Yosanan?
The word religion comes from the word. Have you ever do you know what etymology is? The root origins of the word? It comes from the word religare, means to bind. To bind what?
Hang on. What's
Your
that? Is that
mind.
Greek? Did you just say a Greek word?
Etymology.
No, the root word. Where did that root word come from? Did you just say Koine Greek?
Religion comes from, and govern comes from the root word governance, mind control, slavery. Government.
So you've just
slavery.
quoted Greek. That has nothing to do with anything.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about the etymology. Where
You're
the
using a
word
Greek
was,
word. that
okay,
was created
why
way
was
after
the word
Hebrew.
created to describe what? Later on, reinterpreted, mistranslated. The original word means to bind, religare. Do you see what I mean? These people know nothing.
No,
And
you're
I
using
know
Koine
nothing.
Greek.
We know nothing about what is really going on. The government is complete slavery. That's what it is. Slavery is taking 100% of someone's labor. Okay, taking 35% of someone's labor that you didn't earn is slavery, pure and simple. That's
Hey,
like
just to
him.
lead.
If
The
I
government
took
is meant to-
35% of his money, I am his
I was gonna say,
slaver.
back to Jesus thing. Caesar Augustus said himself, he stood out and said, I find no fault in this man. He's broke no law.
Right.
And
But kill him
when they
anyway.
arrested Yeshua HaMashiach, that would have been the perfect time for him to just tell the disciples, attack, kill
Right.
Rome. This is our time. Let's kill Herod.
Yeah, they could
Let's
totally
take it.
win. 12 men could win against the entire Roman legion.
But I was saying, if he was a violent person like the Crusaders, like these bad apples who really wasn't true Christians, if he was that kind of person, he would have done it right then. But he wasn't.
He was violent. He whipped people out of
Jesus
the
wasn't
temple.
violent.
He whipped people out of the temple.
Well, that was
No,
because
did
he had such a
kicked
zeal.
over-
There's
he
an Old
kicked over
Testament.
tables. He
There's an
didn't
Old
whip
Testament
nobody.
prophecy in the Tanakh that says the
If
zeal
you
for
want
thine
to
house
follow
is eating
God,
me
you've
up.
got to be violent. You've got to be willing to kill,
See,
not murder.
No,
You've got to be
see-
willing to be self-defense.
you're talking
if
for a
someone
God
puts
you
their
don't
hands
know.
on you, you got to be willing to put
You're
a
talking about a
bullet
God
to
that
their
you
head.
don't know.
That's
You're
the
having
only
this
thing that
Western
keeps the
mindset.
government back. The only thing that keeps the government back
This is
is
what
the
drugs do.
South. I'm from North Carolina. The only reason the government doesn't take over America is they know if they came for the guns, we'd give them the bullets first. We are
Well, you can get your
gone.
channel shut down,
We
man.
are
So the things you're
gone.
saying,
Hey, buddy, I'm from North Carolina also,
Yeah,
but a lot of people don't think like that. I'm from Concord, North Carolina.
because
But
not a lot of people know the truth. And by God, I stand on nothing but the fucking truth. I'm not going to believe in your goddamn rapist politicians. 23 years old RFK raped someone. Donald Trump,
buddy,
sexual predator.
I'll
Anybody
listen.
that
I'll
believes
listen to
in
you
Trump's
talk.
Trump
not
or
a
Hillary,
predator.
I'll
anybody
listen to
that
you
believes
talk,
that
but
the Republicans or the Democrats are sexual predators that should be put down. All state employees should be put down like dogs. And there's
It's
no
yeah, but
other
it's
thing.
usually
buddy, you cannot take the name of the Lord thy God in vain on this channel. I'll listen to you, but don't take God's name in vain.
What are you talking about?
You
You are
just
having
said
cognitive dissonance. You are not
you
listening
said
to a word
this
I
is
GD.
say.
crazy. The two
You
You
G's
said
are
know
kicked
GD.
very
back.
You're not
well.
supposed to take
You
God's
know
name in
very
vain.
well that the tax return that you get, you know what it's from. You know who makes all those clothes. Motherfuckers that's wearing sandals in Pakistan. They don't have protective equipment. And you are sitting here, and the only reason you have wealth is because the government takes from them and gives it to you. And that's what they do.
MC,
That's why you have wealth. Why they break their motherfucking backs and make your shit, your merchandise that you buy. You need to get real and wake up to the goddamn program. The government's fucking evil. You know it's fucking evil down to its fucking core, and you won't admit it. That's the truth.
MC,
That's who Jesus exposed.
Well, what can you
MC,
do
my
about it?
man. Wait.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
is there
What can
a?
you do
What's
about
the
it? Do you
alternative?
not
MC,
believe in God? Do you not have
do you have
faith
an
of a mustard
alternative?
seed?
This guy's
MC,
Stand
nuts.
up to them. You don't let them. You do not let them do what they do. You
You're an
don't
egomaniac.
resist.
MC,
narcissist.
Fucking
MC,
fight.
MC, MC. What is? I muted you for a moment. What is the alternative as you see it? Can you provide an alternative? We get it. It's all vile. It's crap. It's done. It needs to be eradicated and burned. Give me a viable alternative and make it quick because we do need to go soon.
Oh, excellent. And here's the solution. Stop paying your taxes. Resist the government. Don't help them rob you. Resist. If they don't have any money to operate, they simply will shut down. And if they come and they try to take your stuff, kill them. I don't care if they're wearing a badge or not. We have every right to stand up for ourselves. Those terrorists overseas that are killing
Oh, your channel
military
will get
officers,
shut down for saying this stuff, mind.
I am 100% happy for every American soldier that dies. My grandpa was a terrible human being. I'm glad he killed himself. I am glad.
Jesus.
Well,
Oh
he's
my God,
military. He
Well,
worked for the devil. The military is the devil, and that's all I got
I'll
to
tell
say.
you.
brother, you have the devil speaking through you right now.
Exactly.
Wait.
Damn
Hey,
right,
You,
come
Lucifer. You
on,
know who the devil really is Lucifer. And you
guys!
know who
Don't
Jesus
make me
really is
mute,
Lucifer,
y'all.
right? You know
Jesus is
I'm sorry,
Lucifer
Jansen. I'm
is
sorry.
the real Jesus, correct? They're similar. They're both called the morning star. They're the same person. You damn right I'm a Luciferian. And Lucifer's going to save this world when he kills all the government. And he's going to.
Yeah,
He's coming for the government. Trust me. And
this is
what are you
crazy,
going
man.
to do about it? What the hell are you going to do about it? What's the government going to do about Lucifer coming for him?
On that note, I will say we can continue this in the comments. Good night. I'll see you, God willing, on Friday for something either quick, a live stream, a short, I don't know what. Until then, whew, what an ending, huh?